What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing another career simulation video, and today it will be on the third overall pick in the 2019 NHL entry draft, Kirby Dach of the Chicago Blackhawks. As always, we're going to be taking control of an Eastern Conference team and doing whatever we can to stay out of the way of the Chicago Blackhawks and Kirby Dach in the simulation. Then we're going to simulate year by year to see his stats and if he wins any awards. Let's see how Kirby Dach is looking heading into year number 1. So as you can see, currently the Chicago Blackhawks have Kirby Dach sitting on the 4th line at center at a 78 overall. Dach has a high top 6 potential, and his current role is a 4th line forward. His stats to start are 85 offensive awareness, 83 defensive awareness, 84 acceleration, and 86 shot power. Not bad stats, but with him not starting at elite potential like Jack Hughes and Capo Caco, obviously his stats are going to be a bit lower than theirs. Anyway, let's see if this is enough for him to help bring the Chicago Blackhawks back to the playoffs and maybe win the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. So in their first year with Kirby Dach, the Chicago Blackhawks have an incredible regular season that sees them finishing first in the NHL and winning the President's Trophy. The playoffs were not as good to the Hawks though, as they fall in 6 games to the Anaheim Ducks in the first round. Kirby Dach's first regular season is a very underwhelming one for him as he spends the year up and down with the Blackhawks, and in 48 NHL games he puts up only 5 goals and 9 assists for 14 points. Dach did not appear in the playoffs for Chicago, and he stayed put at 78 overall. After winning the President's Trophy the year before, the Hawks end up taking a step back the next year as they finished 14th in the league. In the playoffs, they fell in the second round in 7 games to the Calgary Flames. Dach's sophomore season sees him play up in the NHL for 70 games, and in those 70 games scored 8 goals and 18 assists for 26 points. He did play in the playoffs this year, and in 11 playoff games he had only 1 goal. Kirby Dach is now up to an 80 overall. Year 3 sees Chicago back as one of the best teams in the NHL again, as they finished 4th in the NHL. For the second straight year though, they fall in the second round in 7 games, this time to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche. Kirby Dach in his first full 82-game regular season in the NHL put up 11 goals and 35 assists for 46 points, and in the playoffs was very present, scoring 5 goals and 3 assists in 9 playoff games. With this, Kirby Dach is now up to an 84 overall and also signs a 3-year, $2.2 million per year extension with the Chicago Blackhawks. Once again, the Blackhawks put together a great regular season, as for the second straight year they finished 4th in the NHL. In the playoffs, they finally went on a deep playoff run where we see them get eliminated in the 3rd round in 6 games to the Nashville Predators. In the first year of his new contract, Kirby Dach scored 22 goals and 35 assists for 57 points, and in the playoffs scored 5 goals and 11 assists in 16 playoff games. Again, we see Dach increase in overall to an 87 and is now at medium elite potential. Year 5 sees the Blackhawks finish 2nd in the NHL and win the Western Conference. Sadly, they couldn't continue this success in the playoffs as they get knocked out in round 1 in just 6 games to the Vancouver Canucks. Kirby Dach in 72 games scored 24 goals and 44 assists for 68 points, and in the playoffs put up 2 assists. Kirby Dach stays put at 87 overall. For the first time in 5 years, the Blackhawks miss out on the playoffs as they finish 26th in the NHL. Kirby Dach in the last year of his current deal, despite the poor season from the Hawks, still put up a decent season, scoring 17 goals and 46 assists for 63 points. Kirby Dach is now at an 88 overall and finally gets his payday. Kirby Dach in the offseason signs a 5-year extension worth $13.6 million per year. So after a poor season the year before, the Blackhawks bounce back and find themselves back in the playoffs after finishing 6th in the NHL. The playoffs were another deep run, but sadly they once again fell short in the Western Conference Finals, this time to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights. Kirby Dach in 76 games put up 22 goals and 41 assists for 63 points total, and in the playoffs was almost a point per game as he had 8 goals and 9 assists for 17 points in 18 playoff games. Dach does increase in overall and is now at an 89. Year 8 sees the Hawks falling a bit back in the standings, but still making the playoffs, which at the end of the day is all that matters. In the playoffs, again they fell in the Western Conference Finals in 7 games, this time to the Vancouver Canucks. Kirby Dach's regular season had him playing 74 games and taking a step back in production. Dach scored just 12 goals and 36 assists for only 48 regular season points. The playoffs though were a different story as he put up 8 goals and 17 assists for 25 points in just 19 playoff games. Although a great playoffs, the slow regular season brings him down 1 overall back to an 88. Once again, the Hawks make the playoffs in year 9, but this time it isn't so easy as they just barely sneak in as they finish 19th in the league. Playoffs have them losing in 5 games in the second round to the Canucks once again, after upsetting the number 1 seed in the Minnesota Wild. Kirby Dach in a full 82-game regular season put up 20 goals and 50 assists for 70 points, and in the playoffs scored 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points. After this bounce back year, Dach is back up to an 89 overall. After just making it into the playoffs the year before, Chicago comes back and has a big season, finishing third in the NHL. Once again, they can't get it done in the playoffs though, and they fall in just 5 games to the St. Louis Blues. Kirby Dach again has a solid year, this time having 19 goals and 55 assists for 74 points in 82 games. In the playoffs, he had just 2 assists in 5 games. With this, he stays put at 89 overall. So up until this point, through 10 years, Kirby Dach has played 750 games, scored 160 goals and 369 assists for 529 points. Not a bad career so far, but he's still missing some hardware. So in the final year of Kirby Dach's current deal, the Blackhawks again make the playoffs, finishing 9th in the NHL, but shit the bed in the first round as they were swept by the Edmonton Oilers. Kirby Dach played in only 67 games, but despite that, still had a poor regular season as he only put up 12 goals and 25 assists for 37 points, and did not appear in the playoffs. With this poor season, he lowers to an 88 overall and decides to hit free agency and sign with the New Jersey Devils. The contract is 4 years long and worth $7.8 million per year. In their first season with Kirby Dach, the Devils finished 11th in the NHL and for the second straight year take home the Stanley Cup. The decision to leave Chicago proved to be the right one for Kirby Dach, as in the regular season he put up 15 goals and 38 assists for 53 points, and in the playoffs put up 21 points in 22 playoff games, and is now a Stanley Cup champion. Jack Hughes won the Conn Smythe, and Kirby Dach stays put at 88 overall. Once again in year 13, the Devils put together another great regular season that has them finishing 3rd in the NHL, but sadly their long reign as the Stanley Cup champions comes to an end when they lose to the Rangers in round 1. Kirby Dach scored 24 goals and 37 assists for 61 points in 80 games, and in the playoffs scored a goal and 2 assists. Kirby is still at an 88 overall. So after a cup and a first round exit, in their 3rd year with Kirby Dach, the New Jersey Devils finished 20th and do miss out on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Kirby Dach in 82 games had 19 goals and 40 assists for 59 points and has decreased to an 87 overall. After falling out of the playoffs in the year prior, the Devils decided they needed to change things up, and that came with deciding to trade Kirby Dach to the San Jose Sharks. With Dach, the Sharks finished 3rd in the NHL but were sent home in just 5 games. Kirby Dach played only 56 games that season between New Jersey and San Jose and put up 14 goals and 29 assists for 43 points. And in the playoffs did literally nothing as he only played in 1 game. Kirby Dach is now down to an 86 overall and decided to re-sign with the Sharks on a 3-year deal worth $8.8 million per year. In their first full season with Kirby Dach, the San Jose Sharks had a massive season, finishing 2nd in the league, and in the playoffs they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals but were swept by the Boston Bruins. Kirby Dach had a big season, scoring 15 goals and 56 assists for 71 points in 78 games, and in the playoffs only put up 10 points in 18 games. Dach is still at an 86 overall. Once again, the Sharks finished 2nd in the NHL and are back in the playoffs. This time they fall in the conference finals in 7 games to the Chicago Blackhawks. Kirby Dach's regular season is a short one as he struggles to stay healthy, and in just 47 games put up 8 goals and 32 assists for 40 points. In the playoffs he scored 3 goals and 4 assists for 7 points, and Dach does have a big decrease and is now down to an 82 overall. In the last year of Kirby Dach's current deal, the San Jose Sharks finished 7th in the NHL and fell in the 2nd round to the Edmonton Oilers. Kirby Dach in 79 games put up 13 goals and 30 assists for 43 points, and in the playoffs put up 3 goals and 3 assists for an additional 6 playoff points. He falls again in overall down to a 79, and with that decides to retire at 36 years old. So overall, not a bad career at all for Kirby Dach. He finishes his career with 1,321 games played between the Blackhawks, Devils, and the Sharks, and put up 280 goals, 656 assists for 936 career NHL points. He didn't win any personal accolades, but he won the best prize of them all, which is the Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Also, this is probably going to be my last upload of 2019, so I just want to also say thank you guys so much for the support this year. We hit 1,000 subs, I had a video hit 80,000 views, and for the first time in a while, I'm actually motivated to make videos, and yeah, it's all because of you guys watching. So once again, if you enjoyed it, leave a like. Happy holidays, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.